Okay, we're going to talk about Pollit. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with the tool already. You mentioned that you have been using it. I know which it is. Okay, well, basically, if Verboice is for making phone calls, Pollit is more related to text messaging. The idea behind Pollit is basically conducting surveys on your users, via SMS. So the idea will be we'll set up a bunch of questions you want to ask them. You could go with which is your gender, your age. You ask whatever kind of questions you want, and those questions will be sent one after the other via SMS to all the people you have listed, and Pollit will be in charge of collecting all the answers one after the other. It's much simpler to set up than Verboice, basically because it's much more limited than Verboice. What you can do is just define a survey. You do have a few branching options as you did in Verboice, but it's a much more simple tool to work with, and it's limited to SMS. So what we're going to do something similar to what we did with Verboice. We're basically going to set up a very simple poll, all of you now on your computers. So I will ask you to go to pollit.instead.org, and you should be automatically logged in. If you're not, make sure to log in and use the same account as you created for Verboice. Your accounts are shared among most of InSTEDD applications. So if you have a Verboice account, that's shared with Pollit, it's shared with Resource Map, with a builder, Remind Them, and a bunch of other tools that we may or not may mention during these days. So, first thing we're gonna do is, let's see if this account already has a bunch of polls set up. If you go to the polls tab right here on the top, you'll probably see an option to create a new poll. Think of polls as Verboice projects. Yep, they will be your main unit of work. So we're going to create a new poll. Basically, we have two main options to set up a poll. One option is to manually build it, which is the one we're going to do now. So please select the option to create in Pollit. The other option is if you have already set up a poll using Google Forms. Not sure if you're familiar with Google Forms. Yes, no? No. Okay, Google Forms is a Google product. Let me show you real quick. In which you can create a poll, okay? You conduct a survey here, you can choose the questions, the question type, whether it's multiple choice or not, whether it's text or not. You package it up and you send a link to the people who you want to answer that poll.
That's an online survey, like a typical online poll where you go to a URL and answer the questions where you also.
It's free to
SMS.
No, it's free to use, powered by Google, and it's very similar to what Pollit does, except that Pollit does it over SMS instead of online. So going back to Pollit, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a poll here, right here in Pollit. Let's get next.
Because Pollit is online, is that right?
Pollit is online, but the way of it to communicate with the users is via SMS.
Yeah, okay.
So you configure everything and you access your data here, but the people you want to reach, you reach them by SMS. Exactly like Verboice, in that you will configure everything online and you will extract all the data you have gathered from a web page, and the people are reached via phone. In this case, it's exactly the same, only that you reach out via SMS. Okay, so this is going to be your main screen, in which you get to edit your poll, okay? Okay, first thing, we want to give it a name. Let's do some very basic demographics. Users. Okay, welcome message. So the idea will be, after we set this up, we will be loading a set of phone numbers in Pollit, and Pollit will send them an initial message saying, hey, we're doing a demographic poll. Do you want to participate or not? This is the welcome message, okay? So we're going to say something like, reply yes to participate in the demographics poll. So what we expect our users to say is to reply back with a message saying, yes, I want to participate. That's why we ask them to reply yes. The next thing we have to fill is exactly what we expect back from the users. So if you are doing the poll in Spanish, for instance, you will ask them to reply sí if you want to participate. In this box, you will play sí. So we're good so far. First message, what we're going to send the users. Next message, what we expect from them as a confirmation that they want to participate. And the goodbye message, if after we have finished, we want to send them something like the typical thanks, food will arrive soon. Okay, exactly the same here. Now, this is the part you're actually interested in. Which are the questions you want to ask? Pollit will allow you to define 3 kinds of questions: free text questions, numeric questions, or a multiple choice. Okay? So, let's start with a simple, plain question. Something like, I don't know, what's your name? Okay. You can define certain validations for this. In this case, we are not going to add anything in particular, but you can ask for specific input length. Let's say that, we can say that a name should be at least 2 characters and should be no more than 60, let's say. This is the basic for setting up a single question, okay? So let's say we want to follow up with a multiple choice. So you ask them to, let's say, for the gender. And the options could be male, female, or other. Okay? So what's going to happen is, for this first case, Pollit is going to send them a message saying, what is your name? You expect people to answer with another text message with their names. Pollit will store that as an answer. For this one, Pollit will say, let's put something friendlier, like, what is your gender? Pollit will send, what is your gender? And will automatically say, send male, female, or other. Okay? Unlike Verboice, Pollit will automatically set this up. And the last one, numeric question, typical candidate, your age. How old are you? And let's say that someone who is 1 year old is not able to operate the phone, though kids are getting smarter every day. And I don't know people who are older than 130. Basically, all of the answers to those questions will get stored for you to download later. And if this poll in particular is linked to a Google Forms poll, it will automatically populate the answers on that Google form as well. If you want to collect as well the phone number of the person, what you do is you set up a new kind of question and you hit store sender phone number. So what's going to happen here is this is not going to be sent to the user, and what you will see when you download your data will be another question named phone number.
So it's not actually a question, it will only just collect.
Exactly. It's like a placeholder for collecting that information automatically, and this does not trigger a message to the user.
Sorry, you did like in what is your name, you have the option to do store.
You basically set up a new text question, and you say.
The first question you have the option as well, stores sender phone number. What is the difference? If you click on what is your name, what is the difference between doing it here, sorry, and doing that?
If I do this, it's not going to send a what is your name question to the user. It's going to store the phone number instead of the name. So you typically, if you do want to give the phone number as a different question, what you typically do is you set up a new question and just hit that check. Okay, remember when we set up Twilio on Verboice? Twilio was the channel for Verboice to communicate with the end user. Verboice does not have by itself the capability to directly call the user. You have to either use a hardware modem to do that or contact with an external provider like Twilio to be able to do it. Exactly the same happens for Pollit, okay? In the case of Pollit, you need to set up a channel to be able to send the text messages to the user. You could set up an agreement with a local telephone company, which is something that Nicholas is going to be talked about later. Or the easiest way is to set up a local gateway. The local gateway is basically going to be a very, very simple program that's going to run either on your Android phone or on your computer. And it's going to get information from Pollit and send them via text message to the users. Okay, it's going to be the gateway between Pollit and the messaging to the users. The easiest way to do this is with an Android mobile phone. If you go with the option of the desktop local gateway, which is the second one, you have to download a program to run on your computer and also plug in via USB another phone, which can be a dumb phone, does not have to be an Android or smartphone at all. Download the drivers for that phone as well and have everything configured. It's a little bit more difficult. It might be more robust because you are basically running it on a computer rather than on an Android phone. Still, Android phone is a great option, and it's what we typically recommend for easy setups. Okay, the gateway. Think of the gateway as anything that is able to speak both SMS and internet. Okay, via the internet, it's going to get information to and from Pollit, and via SMS is going to get information to and from the users. That's why an Android phone is a great choice. It has both Wi-Fi and text messaging capabilities. And the local gateway is just a program that you drop there and just works. You will not be able to use that phone for doing messaging, sending messages yourself. It will all be captured by the local gateway program.
Did you all get what's the purpose of the program, the Android phone? No? Okay. So, Pollit is a system that is installed inside a server somewhere, okay? In this case, it's on a server on the internet. In your case, it could be a computer on your office. But computers or servers do not have any means of sending SMS, okay? So you need to somehow be able to interact with something that's able to send and receive SMSs. The easiest way we found out to be able to do that without you having to go to talk to a telephone company and say, hey, I have a system, I am working in this country, I want to be able to send and receive SMSs, is to use a phone as the means to send and receive SMSs. So we need, the same way you can send and receive SMSs as a human using your phone, we need to transfer those abilities to a system, okay? So there's a way for Pollit to be able to use the phone remotely through the internet and command it to be able to send and receive messages. And that way is to install a program. That program will allow Pollit to control your phone and be able to send and receive SMSs. So far, so good? Yeah, okay. One of the important side effects of that is that that phone cannot be your personal phone, because every message that you get on that phone will be relayed to Pollit. It will be sent to Pollit. The application on the phone will say, hey, I got a new message. Maybe it's an answer to a poll that you sent, and it will hand that message to Pollit. So it cannot be your personal phone. It needs to be a dedicated phone only for that purpose. Okay? So you will install a program in that phone, and you will connect that program to Pollit. And then Pollit will be able to talk to your phone and say, hey, I need to send a poll, send this message to this phone number. When the person replies, they will think that your users, your beneficiaries will get messages from the phone the same way as you would be manually sending them, right? There's no difference on how a beneficiary receives a message. And then when they reply, the message will go to your phone. You will even be able to see it coming here, but the program that you install will capture that message and will hand it out to Pollit, and Pollit will store it. Okay? So it's a way of giving the application that we installed here is a way of giving Pollit control over your phone to be able to send and receive messages.
That also means that you have to make sure that that phone is always plugged in, you always have enough credit to send the messages, etc. Basically, you have to take care of that phone, since all your poll is depending on that phone working okay.
The good thing about this is that you can go into any country with your Android phone, buy a SIM card there, make sure that it has lots of credit, connect it to your Wi-Fi or pay for a data plan, and you can start running polls immediately. So we're going to see now, how to install that application in the
Android phone. So what we're going to do is choose to install on an Android mobile phone. The other option is if you want to connect an old phone into a computer and have the computer manage that phone, which means a bunch of additional steps. But we're going to go with the simplest way. Okay, so the first step will be you have to download an app into your Android phone. Your options are to either go to the Android market and look for non-tune local gateway. Non-tune is the name of the InSTEDD application, which is in charge of controlling the phones. Or you can simply scan the QR code, which should send you directly to the market to download the app.
Once it finishes, you can click open. You have to enter the phone number. You might enter the phone number there. So then you click, you touch next, and you get this screen here. So you see a number, okay? It tells you enter the following code in the application. Okay, so you're going to type this number here. Okay. What this is doing is basically the phone here is connecting to the internet and talking to Pollit and saying, hey, somebody wants to use Pollit on this through this phone, but the phone doesn't know that you are logged in here with your user account. So this code will do the connection between your account and the phone. Okay? So now Pollit can go and find the Android phone that has this 4301 number. Okay? So you click next, it was now connected to that. So it tells me success, this phone will be used for demographics 799. Okay? So I just click OK. And then there's just a start button. Okay? So I just press start there, and we're ready to go on.
Good.
Okay. So maybe you want to.
Okay. So the final step in creating a poll. Let's back up a little bit. First thing we did is we created a new poll, entered stuff like the welcome message, send yes if you want to participate, and the kind of questions we wanted to ask. Next step to configure the channel. This is basically the gateway, how we want Pollit to talk to the outside world. And next step is to add the list of your beneficiaries. Okay? Any of these steps you can later go back and modify what you have entered. You have the options to upload a CSV file, similar as we had in Verboice. To, let's leave this one out for a second, or to simply manually add new respondents. So what we can do is, as always, add Lucia's phone number.
I think it's in the clipboard.
Really?
Unless you use it for anything.
In the clipboard. 236, is that yours?
Yes.
Perfect. And maybe we can get another one. Just to hit next. Okay, so this is what you should be seeing after you have set everything up. You have basically a quick overview of the poll. You have the set of respondents. Respondents would be the beneficiaries, the people who will be responding to your poll. And the channel you have configured with the phone number you have entered. We have the list of respondents. As you see, we can go back to this page and add more phone numbers as needed. We can modify the channel. Again, this is, if you go here to change channel, you will go through the same screens. And on settings, this is the very first page we saw, in which you can modify the name, the welcome message, or even the questions we have set up. Okay? So, once you have everything ready, what you have to do is just start the poll.
Yes.
Depending on the country, you will need to add or not the international prefix to the messages you're sending. And also you might need or not to add a plus sign before sending them. There is a setting on the local gateway to do that. So you just go to the local gateway, on settings part you say, hey, I want to prepend a plus to all the text messages I'm sending. Problem is different countries and different cell phone companies work differently. For instance, in Argentina, we have a different prefix if you are calling than if you are sending a text message. Or you do not add the country code in those cases, and basically different countries have completely different rules. What we suggest is you do a test run beforehand on the country you're working with and see how that goes. So, okay, let's try it. Okay, so, well, you usually want to start. Once started, you may not modify its questions. Yep, I'm sure about that. Okay, so the poll should have started. Okay, good. So we have sent our first text message, our second one.
Okay, I received reply yes, participate in demographics.
Okay, someone just sent yes. And we have another yes. Okay, good. And we are sending a what's your name to the one ending in 516. Basically, here on the local gateway screen, you can track everything that's happening. Okay?
No, if you're sending to a lot of numbers,
Yeah.
is there a lot of delay in frequently
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you can send about a dozen per minute or so. So if you want to reach a lot of beneficiaries at the same time, you might want to look into other methods besides the local gateway. Still, a dozen messages per minute is good enough for most simple cases.
Okay. Or is there a way you could you send out one SMS and then 10 minutes or kind of a minute later to you sort of stagger?
No, you can add like, I don't know, 500 people in the call. The thing is, a mobile phone can only send and receive about 10 messages per minute, okay? So if you have a lot of people, the messages start going out, right? So it'll take an hour for the cell phone to send all of the messages. After that hour, it will start processing the incoming replies, right? So if everybody replies at the same time, then the next question will be delayed a couple more hours, okay? So if you want a very quick interaction with the person and you want them to receive the next question immediately after the yes, and you have a big number of people, then you might run into issues. Usually, if you don't have a huge number, not everybody will reply at the same time, right? So people might start spreading apart by themselves, so you can still manage to do that. Another simple way is to just split the beneficiaries into several pods and use different phone numbers.
Yeah. So basically, going back to data collection, you get a detailed log of everything that was being sent, basically the same as you should be able to see here on the local gateway, which is which phone number to which question sent, which answer at what time. You can download this as CSV or directly as an Excel file as well. Yes, Excel. Okay, here it is. So basically, this is exactly the same information as we were seeing before, only just downloaded into Excel. And if you prefer, the other option is to go into the Summary tab, in which what you get is basically an aggregation per question of all the answers you have got. For free text questions, you will basically get a list of everything that has been answered. For numeric questions, you will get a bar chart. For options questions, you will get a pie chart. Still, you can download all this information, again as a CSV. There it is. And so what you will get is, once again, making sure that Excel understands that this is a phone number. Okay, so you'll get this one column for each of the questions that you have defined, and one row for each of your respondents. Okay, so this way you can analyze information a bit more easy. Okay, so
the only reason, just to maybe close on the Google Forms things, the only reason why you would want to use the Google Forms option is if you're also collecting answers online. If you want to send the survey over email or put it in a website and have some people reply online through the web and others through SMS and collect all your answers in the same place, then you could use Google Forms. I would say that if you are going to do that, let us know and we'll help you use Google Forms. Otherwise, for the sake of this training, I would just forget about that and go with the pure SMS thing, just so we don't confuse everybody with two options all the time.
Definitely.
But know that there's a way to combine SMS and online service in a single tool.
Okay.
Quick interaction.
So if I understand correctly, this is great for like key informants in the sense that you have maybe just a really small sample, right? But if you're trying to measure like 2,000 households,
then you would not be able to use a plugin phone like they have on Galkayo. You have to talk to us and we'll help you connect to a telephone company. You would still use the same tool. The things you would do would be the same. You use quality, you define everything the same. Okay. But when you have to connect it to a phone number, you cannot just drop in the country with your Android phone, put a SIM card, and go ahead.
Theoretically, you can have like 10 SIM cards, right? And just do it like that if you want to.
You could.
But the SIM cards are like $1 or $2.
Yeah, but you have to have 10 mobile phones. All of them need to be charged. All of them need to have signal. All of them need to have internet. So it gets a little bit more complicated. I would say that if you reach the level of an amount of respondents where you need 10 phones, you're probably past the point where that's a good idea. So you would need to establish it. We connect Pollit to their servers, and Pollit just sends the messages to them.
So you can still control your surveys from here, exactly as you're looking at it now.
Yeah.
Only that when you start the survey, instead of using your phone, it's connected to the phone company, big antennas and everything.
And how about monitoring? Monitoring the status for each respondent on which question is. But no, basically you depend on your beneficiaries answering to one question in order to send back the other one. What Pollit will do is, if the answer they sent is invalid, for instance, on the gender question, if they sent, you had the options A, B, and C. If they sent D, basically Pollit's going to tell them, hey, that's not a valid answer. Please remember to answer A for male, B for female, etc. Any other questions?
And what is the maximum questions, SMS, in the one survey that you can?
As many as you can type, basically. Yeah.
But I think that there is a limitation of the number of the characters that you can send by one message.
Yeah, 140.
140.
Yeah.
Is it different from language to another or not?
Yeah, some languages require twice the amount of storage to send a message. So in some languages you can send more, you cannot send more than 70 or 80.
Like in
Any other?
If we wanted to ask the same respondents about getting back in 2 weeks, how can we?
Fantastic question. So what you can do there, you can configure a recurrence for a poll. This one is already started, so we cannot modify it. What we are going to do is set up a new one for that. Give me 1 second. Create a new poll in Pollit, and this is going to be, I don't know, food survey. So what you can do is you can choose how often you want to deliver this poll to your users. For instance, you said that you want to send it every 2 weeks, let's say on Monday. Okay? And I want to send it on the afternoon. So what's going to happen is every 2 weeks, Pollit is going to start over with this poll with the same set of respondents. So let's say you want to check every 2 weeks, whether they have had 3 meals a day, they have eaten okay, what kind of things they have been eating. You can configure it this way, so you don't have to manually go and create a new poll, copy the questions, copy the respondents, and start over. This is all going to be managed here by Pollit. Weeks, etc. Pollit will just restart the poll on that front. And in this case, when you go through the summary of responses, you can actually choose for which week you're seeing the answers. And you can download your answers from different weeks separately. So you can analyze what's been happening during the first week of January, the second one, third one, etc. And the other thing I wanted to share with you is what you had asked at the very beginning, which is branching. So something you can do is, let's remove these questions. And I don't know what we can ask. Are you receiving food packages? And we ask them for yes or no. And then we would want to ask how many. Okay? But the point is we want to ask this question only if they replied yes to the previous one. So here you see a small drop down and you can choose where do you want to go depending on the answer. So if they send yes, you can redirect them either directly to the next question, or in this case to how many, and if they say no, you just send them to the end of the poll. Okay?
So you can send them back to a question that will be...
No, you can only move forward. So as you can see, in this case, it's a very, very simple branching option compared to Verboice, but it should be enough for you to skip a certain number of questions. Let's add another one. Let's add a...
Would you like?
I see. Okay, gives you the...
So if they say no, we jump to would you like to receive them, something like that. Point is, you are always jumping to a specific point.
And here, if they say yes, how many they reply, then they're gonna receive. Would you like to receive them, right?
Yeah.
No, because I have just selected go to the end poll, go to the end of the poll right here. So basically, on every question, you can say after they have answered this question, where do I want to go? By default, it just moves on to the next question, as we have seen so far. But you can change it. For instance, after they have answered how many meals they have had, I want the poll to end. Okay, I don't want to ask them, would you like to receive them, because it doesn't make sense. So what's happening here is I'm saying, are you receiving food? If they say yes, they go to the how many option. If they say no, they go to would you like to receive them. After they go to how many, when the question ends, I want the poll to end. So basically, I'm doing some kind of branching similar to what Verboice does, but in a very much simpler way. Okay? Eventually, there will be a bit more interesting stuff to do in the next version. Any questions about this?